The following is a presentation of Playfly Sports Properties and Michigan State Sports Properties. Well, hello and good evening, everyone. It is Thursday, June 6th, 2023. I'm your host, Jason Strayhorn, along with my co-host, Otis Wiley and Jehuu Caulcrick. This is Sparta MSU. Thank you for watching the show. If this is your first time, do not forget to click the like and subscribe for first-timers and long-timers. If it is your first time, remember this, the chat is where the party is at. Go to live chat and drop a note and tell everybody where you're from, where you guys listening from. Don't forget to follow us on all of our social media platforms, and this is how to do that. Thanks for tuning in to This is Sparta MSU. Interested in hearing more from us? Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and even TikTok. Click on the link in the bio to head to our link tree for more information. Help us grow our following by hitting the like and subscribe buttons. Tell your friends and family to do the same. Have an idea for a future episode? Let us know in the comments section below. And now, back to the show. Jam-packed show today, gentlemen. You know, we have been all over the country literally today. Otis, you've been doing God's work, doing a little charity today, right?
Doing God's work. It was some God's work for sure. It's Playfly Community Week, so we'll have some pictures to share on our show on Thursday. But it was us, our team at Playfly, but also Home Team Sports came from Detroit. The old McCree House in Lansing. You actually know the McLaren. If you're familiar in the Lansing area, McLaren had a nice headquarters or site over there, so they actually renovated the old McCree House to make it the Jackson House, which is a homeless shelter for kids and families. So we went in there and did a lot, man, where they're doing a grand opening on Thursday, so they needed a lot of help to get some trees trimmed, some weeds pulled, cleaning. I did some of the I vacuumed every room, every floor, 3 floors, with this small little Hoover vacuum. It was like that old school one, with the bag. It was an old school one, but it was good just to see the mission, to see how all the support has happened. And so I'll be doing a lot more with that organization. But it was a good thing to serve today. So, when you serve and you take time off of work, that email box is it's tremendous. So look, as you saw, man, it's like, man, I got to catch up today. But other than that, it was good to do some work, community service.
And that's great stuff to hear about the work that Otis Wiley continues to do. And Choo, man, it looks like you've been traveling today. And I don't know, it looks like you landed in one of those, is that a prison camp? Where are you at?
I am in your patio.
I'm confused of why y'all couldn't just be 2 in one frame.
It wouldn't be because the different boxes. It'll be 2 in one box.
I mean, you could do one box. You could do one box.
This is good.
What's the matter with this? Heads don't fit in one frame, I guess.
Nope, that's what it is.
What's the matter with this?
No, man, good to see you out here in California. Not so sunny, right? Long sleeve weather.
Long sleeve.
The rest of the country. You guys are enjoying those 70, 80-degree temps. Not so much here. But it's all right. We're still going to have a great time, gentlemen, because we got an announcement to make for College Football Hall of Fame. Mark Dantonio, Darryl Rogers, and Flowzell on the ballot this year.
Well, all 3 of those guys are well deserved, and I'm very excited, for Coach D having that opportunity to, be nominated for that. And he's definitely, his track record, shows, just not, wins and losses, but, how he's a leader of men. I think that's definitely, a well-deserved, honor for him, as well as Flowzell and Daryl, all those guys, all those Spartans there. And I hope, we can go 3 for 3 this year.
Yeah, following up on Lorenzo White's, opportunity to go into the Hall. Obviously being able to play for a Hall of Fame coach, it's more so making our experience even sweeter. Because, if it wasn't for Coach Dantonio, I mean, honestly, I don't know where me and Jehuu would be at from a standpoint just professional, right? Like,
exactly.
Even if it's like not even football, but just getting us prepared for just life after. I mean, in the 2-year span and the 1-year span that Jehuu had him, he did more off the field than he did in the wins columns for us, which I think we all know. And then Flowzell, man, like, straight, that's your running mate, man, and he's always been, the guy that I feel like this should have been a long time ago that Flo was inside of the College Hall of Fame, Football Hall of Fame. So, obviously late passing Darryl Rogers. These are just good opportunities for our brand, but also the program. Like, we've done a lot for football, college football in the past history. So, man, just fingers crossed that all of them get in, but we definitely want to know, like, get the man, the Coach D in. Like, it's good.
Yeah, that's the one.
That's the one. You got to get Coach D in, man, for sure. So, vote when it comes out. Get your votes on, like, vote.
Not everyone can vote.
You say what?
Not everyone can vote.
No, not everyone vote. It's not like a journal. But if they did some stuff, man, from a social, just lobby, man. That's all it is. Just lobby.
That is it right there.
That is the lobby.
We need to be throwing it out there and make those people like, yeah,
let's do that. Let's start a campaign to lobby for Coach D, Darryl Rogers, and Flowzell to make the College Hall of Fame, College Football Hall of Fame. Listen, guys, those coaches absolutely need to get in there. But that left tackle, Flowzell Adams, that ended up playing, I think it was 12 years for the Cowboys, 1 year for Pittsburgh Steelers. He doesn't make it to the Hall or be as good as he is without those line calls given by that great center that played next to him. He might deserve I don't know, when he goes to the Hall. But hey, man, so happy for those guys. I hope they can get in there and we can bring them on the show and talk about it.
Man, look, we never asked you. What's your favorite story of Flowzell, playing with Flowzell? Like, what was a story that people won't even know? Like, that was like playing against somebody, like something that was just told him he's a stand-up guy, man.
Well, there's a ton of Flowzell stories, but I mean, just a fact, a little known fact. Flowzell is 2 things. He's deathly afraid of mice. Okay, afraid, and he his favorite music. We always talk about what's in your headphones, right? What you're listening to before the games. Would you guys guess what Flowzell listens to?
Classical
or country, huh? Whitney Houston. Close.
What? But, which one? I want to dance with somebody. Or you talking about the Bodyguard? Which one?
Whitney.
Whitney? Straight up?
Oh, yeah.
Heartbreak Hotel? We talking about the preacher's wife? What do we need to know? It's a lot of Whitneys.
The beginning to the end.
Oh,
that's what I'm saying.
Okay. That's what's up.
Yeah. All right, man. Look, guys, we got a jam-packed show. I mean, those are great things we got to drill down on. But listen, Flo's a great guy. We have to talk about that. But we got to talk about the recruiting that happened this past weekend. And we had Henry Hasselbeck on campus, gentlemen. That is the son of David Hasselbeck.
Matt Hasselbeck.
Matt.
Super Bowl winning Matt Hasselbeck.
There you go. Just Super Bowl winner.
Right.
He's current ESPN analyst, Matt Hasselbeck. I think he's a 3-time Pro Bowler. This is a guy that, that I'm sure Coach Tucker and, Jay Johnson, all that would love to have around the game as well. If you talk about bringing in a player that has a dad like that, I think there's a lot of upside there, gentlemen.
Yeah, there definitely is a lot of upside there. A lot of the biggest upside you have is what's between the ears. This kid grew up in the game of football. He understands the game of football. He lives, breathes the game of football. So I think that's a big upside there. From looking at it from a different perspective of it. This is taking a deeper. Not many quarterbacks can come and say, hey, my dad won a Super Bowl. My dad played in the league for so many years, and he taught me how to read defenses. He taught me how to check in and out of plays, and simple things like inflection of your voice, how to even use a hard count. Those are things that people don't realize goes into the quarterback mindset. So really cool if we were able to get them. That would be a good add to the quarterback room.
Love it.
Yeah, straight. I mean, it says obviously Michigan State blew them away, so It sounds like, we have truly, done our part. And, once you step on campus in the summertime, like this, listen, this is a campus that truly wins the hearts quickly when it's beautiful Michigan summer. To Jehu's point, when you get these legacy kids and the guys that have grown up from birth in football, that's a huge benefit to us. He's still on the rise too. So we're getting him at the standpoint of he still is developing, and just for us to be the first kind of few schools to truly give him the attention that he deserves. Hopefully there's loyalty. We talked about loyalty, but we know it switches up mostly all the time, but let's hope he sticks with us and we continuously keep on cultivating his relationship with Michigan State.
Absolutely. I mean, I think young Hasselbeck is actually committed to Maryland, I believe it is, for lacrosse right now. So football is something, he may be a bit of a late bloomer, so to speak, but that's pretty common when you talk about players, kids and coaches' kids, but they have it all, like you said, Jay, between the ears. That's the biggest thing you get when you get a player like that. So, hey, best of luck to the recruiting process. I hope that we can show them some love. Hey, we've been sending out a couple tweets about it, but hey, it doesn't hurt to tweet at a young man like that, guys. It's time right now to drop your stacks. It's pancake time. Let's listen to this message from IHOP.
At IHOP, we're introducing 2 new all-natural Black Angus steak burgers, the bourbon bacon jam and the jalapeno kick with a crunchy 4-cheese crisp. Get a combo with fries and a drink starting at $9, only from IHOP. Bundle offer for a limited time only. Price and participation may vary. Restrictions apply.
Sometimes, gentlemen, as well as I do, we have a plan for the show, and then out of the blue, some news drops that no one was expecting. And this is not even it's in the world of golf. If you haven't heard, the PGA has now merged with LIV, the LIV Tour. They were fighting. They were at each other's throats, and a lot of players left to take money, and a lot of players stayed at the PGA and, waved their fingers at the LIV participants. Well, that's all over, guys. Michigan State's own James Piot, you remember him, the U.S. Amateur champion a couple of years ago? He is on the LIV Tour. And, guys, I mean, what do you think about this decision now? You remember, we give some context to it, that the LIV players were pretty much ostracized because they were taking money, dirty money. Now it seems that it's all been forgiven and no one knew when it was coming, but it's here today.
Yeah. This goes to show what this goes to show is there's no loyalty in pro sports overall. For all the golfers that stayed loyal to the money-hungry, Saudi-driven league, the golfers that stayed loyal to the PGA, while not having a pot to piss in, all they're going to get from the PGA is a thank you, from them. And those guys that played in the LIV are getting guaranteed money right now. And people who said LIV was bad for golf, LIV was blood money, and they're no longer going to watch, LIV because of that. Now the question is, are you going to watch the PGA now because of this merger, or are you taking your ball and going home for that there? To me, what LIV Golf did was it exposed the PGA for not paying the players what they should have been making in the first place. That's what it did, because all the money was held at the top. So guys like James Piot couldn't make that money in the PJ, so he had to go to LIV, and he can make money playing the sport that he loves. So that's what it was, because the PJ didn't allow that. But what I also see now is happening is you're going to now start to see PGA tournaments played in Dubai, in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, because there's a ton of money that's going to there. So all those players that were bashing guys like Phil Mickelson, Bryson DeChambeau, Brooks Koepka, Phil was getting $200 million to join the LIV Tour. Those players that were bashing those LIV players should be thanking those LIV players now, because what they did is they just opened up the scheme of things, and now golfers are going to be getting a lot more money.
That's a good breakdown, because I think to the point of, I feel like PGA was like, all right, we're going to bash it, and we're going to see if we just hope it fails, and they realized it was successful. Right. So from a brand standpoint, like, they're looking at, let's talk about revenue, and they're looking at the opportunities of just the ceiling has been broke. It's been broken. So, I think that's the thing where, we should just align, and we're going to be able to all benefit now. But LIV took that leap of faith and went something outside the box. And, with the brand that's reputable with PGA, they're kind of like, it's old school, right? It's been founded for so long. So I think it was like waiting on the fails or the pitfalls of this new league, and lo and behold, it flourished, and a lot of attention. We talk about viewership went further over to LIV, and now it's like, well, let's reel it back together, because it's going to it could have superseded or overseeded the PGA, but joining it, I mean, it's one of those things like thank you, probably it's a thank you versus it was a bad deal at first. But to your point, the PGA and the guys that try to pit each other against each other for the game of golf, when ultimately it was great for golf. And I think that's the thing from the standpoint the public saw, this is not as bad as people were portraying it to be.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And that's why I love this show here and this platform here, because we can all agree to disagree, the three of us here. And also we can agree to disagree with, some people in the comments here, like Trevor, you said LIV got that money, but PGA guys kept their integrity. But some of these guys that kept their integrity, so to speak, couldn't feed their families. James Piot wouldn't have, he said it himself. He would not, he won the U.S. Amateur, championship. He's a, U.S. Amateur champion, but he wouldn't have survived in the PGA Tour there. LIV is it's a branch off that gives these guys an opportunity to continue to play the sport that they love. They're not, these guys, they're like, if they're not going to do it, there's going to be some other people that does it. So why not? It's the whole thing is saying, if you're sitting, in your job, yeah, you love your job and everything like this, and another company comes and say, hey, we're going to give you $50,000 more for you to come to our company there. Are you going to hold your loyalty, to that one company, or are you going to go and do what's best for your family? That's what you got to look at the end of the day.
Which is true. That's a great point. And the thing that's funny about this, if you want to look into this a little deeper, is that we all know that he who has the most money kind of wins typically, right? And with this, you're talking about Saudi Arabia, the princes, where the sheiks, they got together and put up $2 billion just in a fund for this particular league that they started, this LIV Tour. They never got a TV deal, guys. They got the best players. They bought them over, and they flourished, as you said. A lot of them have been winning majors, but they never got a TV deal. I think this came down to that. Now, if LIV did decide to go out for bid and start to get a return on their investment, with the television money for those players would be astronomical. And it's a worldwide game now, as we all know. So, look, I think this was something. The LIV Tour won this battle, if there was, if you're keeping score. And I think also the players ultimately did win, because you are what you can negotiate, and that I think that was just a big high level negotiation with power brokers in this world right before our eyes, guys.
Yeah, also look, you talk about the TV deal. I feel like it would have been like a couple months. It would have been Peacock for sure. Like honestly, it would have been on some type of. It would have been on something. Trust me, it would have got picked up.
Yeah,
on a small like.
I think this year they did pick up.
It was like YouTube.
YouTube was the first year, and then this year they picked up. They were on. Shoot, I can't think of. They did pick up something, but you're right, Otis. They were because each year they were gaining more and more momentum, and you're absolutely right. You know, Peacock would have probably been jumping on there. Hulu would have been some streaming platform would have been jumping in there because that's where the things are going now. But hey,
guys, I got a quick question though. Like when you look at the merger of those two power broker leagues. But what is the college football equivalent? We asked this question today on our social media platforms. What's the equivalent of the LIV PGA merger in college football?
I mean, that's a tough. I mean, it's a tough one because that's like two institutions joining. Like that ain't gonna really happen at the Power Five. I'm thinking like I don't know. I was about to say Central Michigan, Western Michigan, joining Michigan State. I don't know because it's a different. LIV wasn't as big yet, so like it wasn't as a big. But I don't know. That's a question answer for me.
Like our guest has said this, and I said this too. The Big Ten and SEC. Thinking about that. Thinking about the conferences joining together and moving away from the NCAA. That's.
Oh, you're going to that extreme, yeah. Okay.
Oh well, these are extremes here. This
I mean, absolutely. Having their own. It was like back in like the AFL, NFL, the USFL, NFL, and all that stuff there. That is something. The powers that be could do that, or these mid majors could say, we're not getting any of the love. From TVs and everything like that. We're going to, have our own. We're not going to play you guys. We're not going to do the blood money games with you guys. We're not going to, the Citadel isn't going to go play Alabama in week 12. Look,
tell those ADs that.
That's what I'm saying. But that's what I'm saying. If you can collectively have a TV deal of your own, and you can be a de facto from that, and you have that stream of revenue coming in that way there.
Well, hey, we're going to talk more about this with our guests. We got a special guest. Darius Snow is going to be joining us after this message from our friends over at IHOP.
When you're smiling. iHoppy Hour, starting at $6 at 3 p.m. Only from IHOP. Download the app and join the rewards program today.
As he throws, and it's intercepted. Darius Snow picks it up for the Spartans.
Well, that's the man right there, Darius Snow, who joins the show. This is Sparta MSU. Welcome, Darius. How you doing, brother?
I'm great, man. Thanks for having me.
Oh, man.
Listen, I need you to crib that pick, though. What's good, man? You didn't think it was coming to you? What's up?
Nah, I seen it coming, man. It's just, I don't know, man. I was living in the moment.
He's like, just don't fumble. Don't fumble, right?
Right, hold on to it.
Something like that.
I appreciate you. We all appreciate you, joining the show. By the name, great last name there. There's so many play on words there, especially in today's NIL, day and age. Someone just said snow showers. You already snow. But first of all, just overall, how you feeling, man?
I'm good, man. I woke up today, so I'm blessed. I can't complain. So I'm good.
Man, talking about, look, if people don't know this, you are, going back to the beginning, you're a legacy player. And what we mean by that is you have, people in your family that have come before you that played at Michigan State. And number one, I would say your father, Eric, who was a basketball player at Michigan State. how is, his experience at Michigan State helped or, influenced your decision to come to Michigan State and how you view it today?
I mean, it was nice for him to come here. Obviously, Coach Izzo coached him when he was in college, so he was somebody that I'd known ever since I was little. So, I mean, to have a guy like that up here was nice. But, I mean, my dad going here, contrary to popular belief, it really didn't have that big of a factor when me coming here. To be honest, it was more of like a plus, like an added benefit once I chose to come here. It really me coming down here was just a combination of us having, or Michigan State having, a solid design program that I just graduated from, and the opportunity on the field, to be honest.
Yeah, you talk about design. I mean, Darius, you've done a lot of work for obviously your teammates, but also the athletic department. Just talk about, the passion behind, obviously designing and really your logos are fire at everything you've been putting you touch and pen to paper, right? And so, talk about how that's came about and how it has evolved to what it is today. As I know you've got a laundry list of requests. So talk about how it's evolved and how is it going so far?
I mean, so in middle school, 8th grade, I went to a school called Don Estridge when I lived in Florida at the time. And that was really my introduction. There was a class, can't remember the name of it, but it was like Foundations of Technology. We went through the Adobe suite in that class. And that was my introduction to technology. Then over the years, it kind of just, kept learning. And when I would go visit schools, I was blessed to have a lot of opportunities to go to different schools in high school. And every time I would visit a school, I would always spend time with the creative officers and, pick their brains and try to learn new techniques and whatnot. Because really the designs about everybody has their own, their own style. And I was still developing mine during high school. And the cool thing about it was, as the years went by, I just kept learning and learning. And when I came here, we had some very talented designers that taught me a lot. Blaze Watson and Jackson Jones especially taught me a lot. And I've just continued to craft on that. And the guys we got here now also help a lot. So, it's always about it. Really, to be honest with you, is all about just constantly growing. And like you said, I started posting my stuff on social media maybe a couple years ago or a year ago. And, people liked it. And here I am today.
Man, I mean, so you got a lot of talent, man. You talked about the design school. You graduated already. You tried to slip that by, man. Congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations, man.
Thanks, man.
Talk about your experience at Michigan State right now as a football player. We all know you as a great player, the great player you are. And man, I'll tell you what, when we call games and I see you hit somebody, man, it's like they hit, they down, man. So you do have that dog in you. We love to see that out of players like Chuck Brantley's a guy who gives it all. He puts it all on the line. You're one of those guys. We know you had the injury that happened this past season. How's the recovery going for you?
It's good. It's good. I mean, like I said earlier, that injury, it kind of just, shed a lot on different things. The game I got hurt when I went back to the X-ray room, my dad was back there with me. And, we're a family that believes in Christ, we're Christians. And, he said to me, we preach about faith and having faith all the time. But he said, you can't preach about it and then in times like this, just lose it. And he said, at the end of the day, it was all written before he could live it anyway. And that's kind of how I've just approached life for real, just attacking what's in front of me in the moment, attacking rehab, attacking the classroom, attacking workouts when I go do it, just everything. And, that mentality has allowed me to make a lot of progress from where I was a year ago today.
So how because I think we've all went through some type of injury, and it's really asking like what is God teaching you in this moment? I think you did a good job, rallying around obviously your guys and helping, coach them up. But just talk about when it happened and then when you're able to kind of start to get back into the swing of things of helping the guys, see things on the field that you would see if you were out there. But just talk about this past season, and then off season leading into now where we're expecting some big things from the crew here.
Well, I mean, when I got hurt, I ended up getting surgery about a couple weeks after that game, and I got surgery in Colorado. So my parents live in Vegas now. So after I had got that surgery, I was there for about a week or a little bit under that, and I went to Vegas. So I was in Vegas with my parents for about a couple months. So I actually missed the first 2-3 months of the season. I was at home, but I would be texting the guys and calling the guys and everything, just trying my best to kind of just staying to work as in whatever way I could, basically. When I came back, for me, I mean, I couldn't do anything. I was on crutches. It was a tough for me, but my big thing was like when I knew guys would be playing where I would, so I would try to talk to those guys, get with those guys, try to watch film when I got the opportunity to, and really just like point out things. The big thing that I like to do, film study's big. I have bad ADD, so it's hard for me to focus a lot of times on one thing. So I have my own ways of doing it. But I would try to point out the things that I would notice, like tendencies that you see in receivers, tendencies you see in the tackle, in the backs and whatnot. Things, balls loose in this area. Just the little things that a lot of people don't notice. I would try to harp on that. Some techniques, things, ways to get people on the ground that have always worked for me. And to see the guys go out there and do a lot of the stuff that I was talking about, it made me feel like I had some sort of impact, even though I wasn't actually out there anymore. So at the end of the day, man, just get in where you fit in, basically, is the mentality.
Yeah, that's a very good point there. And for like Otis said, we've all gone through injuries. I had shoulder surgery. Stray had the ankles. Otis had the knee. We all have been through injuries, and going through injuries, it can really make you change your outlook on the game of football and how you view it. And you can either come out two ways. I think one, you can come out with just being the same person that you were, or you can be a better player because you view the game from a different level and different perspective. You turn in, especially if you miss some time. You just said you were there, you were watching films, looking at different tendencies on receivers, different techniques for tackling and everything like that. Was that something you always did, or were you forced into that? And how do you think that's going to make you as a player going forward?
It's something I always did, those things. That was instilled in me early on. That's thanks to the people I had in the high school when I started playing football. A guy named Verone McKinley. He's on the Dolphins now. He went to Oregon. And then my DC, Eric Mock. Those guys really kind of harped on film study. Me personally, I have a really good memory. So I'd see it once and I remember it. So I would be like, I don't need to do that. And Verone especially, he's made it all the way. He was like, yeah, you do. As he continued to progress, I was like, well, maybe I do need it. And as I got to college, I was like, well, I guess I do need it. And so I kind of developed those habits early on. But if anything, it's just the only thing I can say I learned from it is like I didn't really take things for granted when it came to football. But it's like I talked to a coach actually, and I talked to Brian Dawkins a while ago. He was in Philly at the same time as my dad. So they talk occasionally. But when I was speaking to him, he had said, you got to play every play like it's your last. And I know a lot of people say it, but he was like, if you're going out there and like you – so, I mean, this was obviously before I got hurt, but it made me start thinking. I was like, okay, I'm hurt. I can't play. It sucks. And, I wish I was out there. But I was thinking about it. I was like, if I had known that play that I got hurt on was going to be the last play I was going to play that year, would I have done something different? And I was like, I probably would have. And then I asked myself, I said, why would that have to be the case for me to do that? So if anything, the biggest thing I've learned is like you really, really got to take every single play like it's your last. And, I played hard. I ran hard. You can ask anybody on the team. I played hard as heck. But there was always something more that I could give, and that's not acceptable for real. And my dad's always told me that. So but if anything, it's just whenever I get back out there, I can't leave anything out, leave anything left, nothing left in the tank anytime I step on the field. So
Yeah, excellent. Brian Dawkins, I tell you, that dude was intense. That's the one man that made me like question playing the game of football, playing against that guy, because he came through. We were warming up, and he ran through our warm-ups and kicked someone's helmet over, and I was just like, ooh, I'm gonna cut him every chance. I'm not going head up with him. But that's a great, someone really good to aspire and take those words from, because he clearly and he definitely played with intensity, passion, and he played with every took every play like it's his last there. So going into the season now, there's a lot of stuff happening. We had some guys transfer in, guys transfer out, key pieces left, and we're gaining key pieces as well. What's the mindset of the team?
At the end of the day, the goal is still the goal. Guys are off to different places, and I wish them the best of luck. Both those guys recently. I mean, those are my brothers, so I wish them the best of luck. I never wish negativity upon anybody, regardless of the situation. Guy like Keon, man, for instance, I mean, he's down at Florida State now. The big thing that I've always talked about, and really I feel like it should be the same for everybody that's in the sport. It's a physical sport. And when people have an opportunity to play it, and then people have an opportunity to play it and keep playing at the highest level, I never wish anything negative upon them. I never wish anything negative upon anybody. So, I mean, when people leave, and if they say it's a better opportunity for them, best of luck to them. You'll never hear me say anything negative about anybody. And, for the people that are here, we got what we got, So, and the thing about Spartans, you talk about Spartans, you talk about this Sparta, and you talk about what is a Spartan, Michigan State Spartan football, man. You talk about what I committed to, and what's here is about hard-nosed football. Hard-nosed football. We may lose a game, but you're never going to come and play Michigan State and leave and say, we beat them. Like we beat them. That's never going to happen. That's never going to happen. I feel like that's how it's always been. Growing up when I was watching Michigan State, that's how it always was. So, it's just about working. And it kind of draws back to what I said, just outworking everybody. That's the goal, outworking everybody. And we're working towards that. We've met as a group. We've talked on that, discipline and attitude, things, the smaller things, the details to just attribute towards the goal. I mean, we have high goals this year. You can't, how can I word it? You can't make anything happen in the fall, but you can't win games in the fall now, but you can't lose them.
Mm.
So we got to work to what we can, like I said, stay in the work. We got to work and do what we can now to help attribute to the fall. Because, if you start slacking off, you start thinking and looking forward, you lose that time, you lose them days. And, at the end of the day, like I said, you can't win games now, but you can lose them for sure. And it's always been the same way. We can win every game on our schedule, and we can also lose every game on our schedule. So we can just control what we control and, focus on ourselves right now.
Look, Darius, I always get excited when we get to have defensive guys on the show. So
defensive guys and Texas guys.
Man,
there it is.
Listen, bro. Like it's always hot, man. So I just want to ask you how is the defense going to look and feel, but like what is one of the best things that you think our strengths are in our defense in this scheme? And then, that's a two-part question, but then Coach Hazelton's scheme and kind of putting you in the right places. Like, what is your best feel or, I guess, plan of action for our defense to truly be dominant when it comes to starting off in the fall?
We got some hard workers. I thought we had some hard workers last year. I mean, obviously we had some injuries early on that put us in a tough bind. But I mean, I think, the scheme that we run is really similar to a lot of schemes that NFL teams run. So if you know football, you watch ball, it's a great scheme. And I think that, we have the players and the personnel to put us in great positions. We have some guys that can rush the passer. We have some guys that can stop the run. And we have a lot of guys that can tackle, a lot of guys that can go out there and, and make plays at the end of the day. That's the one thing about being a defensive player, and I'm sure you know well about that, is about making plays. So, the biggest thing is the defense puts us in position to make plays. We just got to go out and do that. And, you know, a lot goes into that more than just actually making a play. Like I said earlier, it's about film study. It's about ripping it out. It's about having the mental reps, which I've had a lot of over this past year. But, you know, it's about the culmination of everything that goes into that, into actually making a play. It's not just out there. You go out there and you just do it. And I'm sure, I mean, y'all already know all about that. But, you know, I think the defense is looking really good. We've added some nice pieces down low and up high. So I'm excited for it. It's looking nice.
You know, Darius, you know, man, so you grew up around the game and you've been around a lot of athletes. You saw your Uncle Percy won the Lombardi Trophy in Michigan State back in '89. Your father, obviously, is a basketball player, goes on to play a long time in the NBA. You know, did you have hoop dreams ever, or did you always want to play football? When did you start playing?
I played football as a little kid up until I was like 6. And then we got to moving because my dad had retired and he started coaching. And I didn't play football at all. I was only playing basketball. Loved to watch soccer. I played it for fun, but really it was basketball. And then in high school, we moved back. I was in Florida at the time in middle school, like I said, when I went to that school. And then we moved back to Texas my 9th grade year. You know, just I went to watch the games. You know how football in Texas is, high school football in Texas is. And the head coach, Brian Brazel, and the DC, Eric Mock, I told y'all about earlier, they kind of like, they wanted my older brother to play, and he wasn't playing. And he ended up going to college to play basketball. But I was a freshman, and they was like, it just kept coming and asking. It was like every single day at one point. And, you know, I was a freshman on varsity. I played with Marcus Smart's team in the Adidas Gauntlet. So I was in a great place in basketball. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I was like, you know, I'll be bored. So I went and I played. And back that spring of my 9th grade year was my first time playing for real. No technique. I was just an athlete. I was hitting stuff. That's all. That's really all I was doing. I was just hitting everything. I had no technique. Looking back on it, it was funny. At Fillmore, I ended up meeting my trainer, Christian White, goes by Flight. He just had a great draft class. Got Witherspoon from Illinois and Gonzalez, 2 first-rounders. So, I mean, I got with him, and ever since then, you know, I really got the technique down. And I just started, you know, growing and getting better. Really, for me, it was just like I always had the athleticism, you know, the size and the will to hit. Not everybody has the will to hit, but I had the will to hit. I think that came within the family. So over the years, it was just harping on the technique. And the cool thing about it is, like, you know, I do DB and backer, but a lot of the technique that you do for DB makes you not have to really learn the technique for backer. So, like, when I went and started doing LB drills along with the DB drills, like, I didn't have to, like, I was just flying through it. Like, the first rep that I ever took at backer, I remember it was one of the ones where there's no pads, so it's just 2-hand touch, and you're sliding through. It was a stretch, and I just shuffle, hit the gap, boom, tackle for loss. And Coach Hayes was like, "You're natural." I was like, "Yeah." But it made a lot of things easier, and I got a lot of people to thank, especially that my trainer Flight, who hopefully I get to go work with this summer.
Man, let's go behind the curtain, because you talked about Coach Hazelton, and you know, how is Coach Hazelton? What's his philosophy? Like, give us a kind of rundown of who Coach Hazelton is in the film room and on the field, off the field, just because we asked our guys to come on, you know, tell us a little bit about, you know, your coach and, you know, get to know, you know, our staff.
He's good, man. He's a family man. I mean, once you like, I was cool with him my sophomore year when I was in the DB room. And it was like, he's a DC. So, I mean, I was cool with him. We talked, especially when we met with his group. And, you know, I did the nickel thing, which a lot of times is like the backer. So, I mean, like, I would learn and stuff. But, I mean, he was a cool dude. I mean, I wasn't as close to him. I mean, when Coach D had retired and I was here, like, who's going to be my coach? They brought in Coach Tucker, who I'd known from back when he was at Georgia. And Coach Barnett I'd known forever. So when they both came in, like Coach Barnett's like my uncle. Love Coach Barnett. So I was like really, really close to Coach Barnett, and I was cool with Coach Hazelton. So when I ended up, switching and playing more backer, and I was in the room with Hazelton, we got really close. He's a great man, great family, love his kids, love his wife. And what I've seen for me personally, when I like the coach as a person, and I love his family, it drives me to play harder.
Mm-hmm.
Like all the I've had a lot of coaches. I've never really had maybe a couple, but in all the really big sports and things that I've played, like in high school, Coach Brazier, Coach Mott, loved them, loved their families. And I played really hard for those guys. I love those guys. It's the same thing with Coach Hayes, man. So, it's like if you say a negative thing about Coach Hayes or Coach Tuck, it's like it hurts me. You feel me? So it's like I love those guys for real, especially Coach Barnett too. And he played back with my uncle too. So
yeah,
yes, he did.
Bang
Bang
stick.
stick. That's him.
Yeah, that's a very good point that you make there, Darius. That if you really like a coach, you play better for. And I think that's where it goes from. I think that's that culture piece. Building that culture, and players can feed off their coach's culture. And Otis, I think you'll be 100% in there with me with the John L. Smith staff and everything like that. I don't think a lot of guys really truly cared for their position coaches because they felt the position coaches didn't care for them. And that culture, and because we had talent, like we had talented guys in there, but it just didn't come together as a full unit, and that culture wasn't there. And I think that's a great point that shouldn't be remissed, especially with recruiting season and everything like that. If someone's thinking about coming to Michigan State, and that's a great point why Otis said, we like to pull the curtain back. So the fans that are in the stands and they're booing this coach, they don't understand what's fully going on. They don't understand that these players love these coaches that they're booing, that fans are there to see play. So, that's a really good point there that you make there. On what's your thought on the culture right now at Michigan State?
I think the culture it is what it's always been. I think, like I said earlier, we've met as a team, players only, on a few occasions. And, it's really about just developing the bond, not just on the field, but off the field. I feel like as you continue to do that, we'll get closer. And then when you're closer to the guy off the field, it kind of makes you want to play harder for him when you're on the field. And I think that's that kind of routine and that type of thing that we're doing, and that's helping us play better as a group. I've seen the gains, marginal gains, aggregation of marginal gains. I think we're making a lot of progress towards a team. Towards being a better team. And, I'm excited to see what we go out and do. And to touch on that topic you said earlier, I've always when it comes to fans, you get highs and you get lows, you get a lot of mixed emotions with fans and whatnot. But negativity for real, a lot of the people, a lot of times, majority of the time, that want to say negative stuff about certain stuff, don't really know what's going on. A lot of times you see retired and, professionals and guys that be in the game, they don't really be speaking out like that as much. Not for real. So my favorite thing to do is we'll do some and for instance, the Purdue game, my sophomore year wasn't a very good defensive performance. And the next day or maybe later that week, I was on there and I seen people saying stuff, and I had asked somebody, I was like, okay, can you explain to me number one, what a robber is, a low hole robber. What is that? And he said something about off of Madden, and I was like, it just wasn't what it was. I was just like, okay. So I didn't reply after that, but in my head, I'm like, okay. So people saying do this and do that, but they don't even know what that means though. So I mean, what are we doing here? Come on, man. That's why I don't really engage in a lot of that stuff for real. A lot of times, if you ever see me reply to something like that, it's just because I be bored. I be bored a lot.
What was the news that was going? Everyone was hitting the transfer. You had Chuck, you had Peyton, you had Keon, and you was like, relax, bro.
Bro, so I'm a big Brown fan. My dad played with Brown for about 6 years. When I was growing up, that's why I'm a big Brown fan, because like I would be able to go on the road trips with them and be like backstage and all that stuff. So I saw all that stuff. Like when they went to play the Spurs in the first finals, I was there. Like I was there for the whole thing, and I have like vivid memories of doing that. Like I remember going on a road trip to New Jersey. The waffles were great in the hotel. Like I remember all that stuff when I was a kid. So like I'm a big Brown fan. So Brown had beat the Grizzlies, had a great series, and they was about to play the Warriors. And I had tweeted, I was like, this is about to be the most watched playoff series ever. And it was up there too. And I was really just trying to like read more about that. And then all I kept seeing was all the stuff about that. And I'm like, just relax, man. Like games aren't won in May. But you can't lose them. But at the end of the day, you can't control everything. Yeah, you just gotta work with what you got. So it's like, and at the same time, stressing ain't gonna help nothing. I got a feeling that the mans and the people getting paid the big bucks and the guys that work out every single day gonna have something to do with it. You feel me? So it's like, relax, just like chill out, man. Grab a drink.
Right. Well, Jay says, grab a bevy.
Grab a bevy.
And go watch some golf. Go golf.
You a golfer? Are you a golfer?
I'm not, man. I mean, I do it occasionally. I'm blessed enough to say I'm not bad. So that's a compliment in my opinion.
Yeah.
Not bad. That's good for me.
Listen, if we ain't playing in the pros, man, like we all bad, man.
Right.
Now,
right. I thought a lot about what you were saying about playing for a coach that you like, especially if you love him and his family and all that. And I'm thinking about the coaches I had at Michigan State, playing for Saban, you have a lot of coaches that you did with them day to day. And like outside of a golden pad and, Coach Bowman, Bobby Williams is always very entertaining and cool guy. But, it was the defensive back coach named Mark Dantonio was the guy that most on that team back then who have said, like, if there's a coach that makes you feel, hey, I'll do anything for this. It was always Coach D. And that was way back before the man that he became. But, for you, Darius, you've seen this game. You're talking about stories of watching LeBron playing finals when you were a kid in the waffles and such at the hotel. We got to get the name of that hotel, Choo Choo, or friend, just for a friend. Darius, like, how has this game changed you? When you look at NIL and the transfer report, like what do you see? Because you've seen this game from a young age to now. What do you think this has done for the good or for the worse?
Well, I mean, the sport, especially in college football, we make like the sport brings in so much money, especially about a school like Michigan State. It brings in so much money. So I think it's only right that players get a piece of it, be able to capitalize on the image and likeness, because it's out there so much. Like you should be able to capitalize on it. And I spoke about this at like a summit not too long ago, and a lot of people kind of use NIL, I'd say primarily for the monetary, excuse me. The immediate wealth, like the money, the products, the clothing, and whatever they may take it for, something that's physical in the moment. But me personally, I've used it more for the networking and the relationships to build. I mean, yeah, I get a little bit of the monetary myself, but it's really the relationships that I build. Me personally, me as a designer, I was able to create some connections and I still am, that'll last me a long time. I mean, like started in February. It ended a few days ago. But I was working with Harvard as a designer, Harvard football as a designer. And that's something that, like, without NIL, wouldn't have been able to do. That's something I can put on my portfolio. It just makes it look even better. I worked with a media company that has that owns a NASCAR team. So I'm able to do graphics for them. So it's like I've been able to do what I love and then also make a profit off of it. So there's definitely benefits to it. My big thing is, like, at the end of the day, though, we're here to play football, though. You feel me? At least me personally, I'm here to play football. Here to ball. Everything else is a benefit of me balling. The way I see it, I mean, if you're not balling, then you're not going to get anything anyway. So, I mean, I ball, and then everything else is like a benefit. Kind of like me going to Michigan State, like my parents haven't gone here was a benefit. But it wasn't the reason why I do it. I do it to ball because I love to play the sport. That's why I play football. So at the end of the day, man, it's a positive thing. You just can't have it be the only reason you're playing, in my opinion.
Hey man, look, this man.
That's a great answer. That's a great answer. Let that breathe. Let that breathe.
Yeah, let it breathe. Seriously.
Look, that was a good closing from just like that was a sermon, my brother. Like that was. We talk about winning brings that you got to win, right? You got to win the right way. And hey, stand up guy, my dog. You are definitely one of those guys, and we already knew that. We've known you, talked to you before, but our followers and Spartan Nation, you just validating what we already know, that you are a true Spartan dog through and through, my boy. My dog, not my boy, my dog.
Before we let you go, D, what you listening to on game day? Do you listen to music?
I do, man. I have a whole playlist. I listen to kind of alternative music on the bus, though. The songs you hear in the Beats commercials and stuff like that, like Hosier. I don't know if you know who James Blake is, but stuff like that. Those are songs I listen to on the bus, kind of puts you in the mood. Then when it's a 4-song playlist. When that ends, I'm back to my it's rap. It's a lot of old school stuff though. I got
let's throw it out. What's old school? Throw it out.
What more can I say?
Okay.
I got LL Cool J on there.
Which one? I told y'all about that, man. I told you that thing.
A lot of Wheezy. You'll see some Drake on there, but kind of a lot of them old school bangers that had you in there yeah.
I'm surprised you were talking about Jeezy the Snowman.
I was going to say Jeezy
because he was Snowman, no Jeezy.
You got the same name, don't mean I be bumping with
I'm
a big Moses fan, especially I think What More Can I Say is probably my favorite song of his.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Love that.
Awesome.
Man, hey, awesome having you on the show, brother. Hey, listen. You're welcome back anytime. And, you have the design skills. And I know a guy that needs a lot of design work. And he might be one of the guys outside of me and Jehuu on this show with you right now. But we'll talk about that another time, man. Hey, man.
I might need some designs. So
yeah, we do. We got to, rebrand the show or whatever we're going to do here. So listen, if whatever we do, I want to do it with him. When it comes to that, he is you're definitely a top-notch individual and a better person and player, man. We love you to have you on the show anytime, man. And tell your pops and your uncle we coming. We need them on the show too. Little Neff and son done came on before them. They got to step up. No, for real. Thanks for coming on the show.
Appreciate it.
All right, man. Bless.
Thank you.
All righty.
Thank you. Great guy.
Darius
Great
Snow.
guy. And this is why, we have guys like this on the show. So people know these guys, the character, men of character, really, really, good dude. And proud to say, he's a fellow Spartan dog.
Oh man, look, I gotta put this comment up,
Doug?
No, did you see what he just did? You just see what Choo just drank?
Was that in and out? What was it?
No.
I didn't see it.
What?
If it ain't no paid part,
there it is. You see that?
Ooh, Popeyes?
Yeah.
Popeyes,
Hey, guys, before I know we're going to close out here, but I want to say on this show, we're all family. All our listeners, we're family, and we like to celebrate winners. And we got a champion, here. We can't not give a shout out. Tony, can you pop that up there?
You gotta do it.
You can't not give a shout out to the Tatum family.
Man, look, I'm trying to figure out what they feeding the kids, man. Need some of that speed, boy. I tell you, freshman. Did you see those times?
Yeah, you can put it back up. Yeah. Tony, put it back up real quick.
Man,
yeah.
Listen, look,
freshman,
Buddy Lee. Hey, man, look, we gotta make sure. I don't even know if we can bring her on the show. It was like we can't pay NIL in high school right now. Anywho, Tatum's, congratulations. You got a state champion. I know it's a lot of look, am I the only one on this show now? Hilarious. Well, Mr. Tatum, Mama Tatum, congratulations on state champion. I'm sure she's going to get more medals than Dylan. So tell Dylan I said that from 21-21. One, I'm the only one locking this show down, closing it out. We appreciate y'all being with us. Until next time on Thursday, go green and go white. Peace out.
This is Sparta MSU as a combined presentation of Playfly Sports Properties and Michigan State Sports Properties. The show is produced by Pete Menez with additional support from Tony Costella. Operations and social media support is provided by Alicia Strayhorn with support from Cecily Max Brown. On-location technical support is provided by Good Fruit Video. Be sure to follow our hosts Jason Strayhorn, Jehuu Caulcrick, and Otis Wiley on social media. To stay up to date with all the latest, this is Sparta News. Please like and subscribe by visiting our link tree and tell a friend to do the same. Thank you for your support, and as always, go green.